You're on in three, two, one.
Do 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 do. I'm here and we're live, and we're live and we're here. I actually think in the first like couple of minutes, the thing doesn't even hear you, so I might be speaking to myself. But either way, welcome to the show. Here we are, calling it now. Luthien asked me if I have anything pulled up, like call in studio or the chat or anything like that. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Let me pull things up now that I'm shitting here. Me myself waiting on Lux. Lux should be here shortly, and then we'll be able to have, and then we'll be able to hang out with Lux and chat and chill and debate, and hopefully people call in at 336-543-2101. That number is wrong on my side, so let me change it real quick. Yeah, 336-543-2101. If you want to debate, that's the number you should call. You should call that number to debate on the line. What here on Calling It Now, where we love to argue with capitalists and Christians and conservatives. We like arguing against all of them. So if you want to join me in publicly shaming these people, come on down. 219-327, or no, that's my phone number. Jesus Christ. 336-543-2101. That's the number. I just got my dinner. I got Popeyes. Jimmy is sick, so if you're wondering where Jimmy is today, he's not feeling well. He's a little under the weather. Rest in peace, Jimmy Snow. Hashtag snow never melts. Good chicken. Ain't that right, Luthien? Hashtag snow never melts. Yeah,
Hashtag
it's
snow
right.
never melts.
Yeah. Big hashtag. I'm trying to get my stream up, and it's not working. You know, to get my co-streaming. Hey, Christians. Hey, conservatives. How does it feel knowing that the Supreme Court disagrees with you on birthright citizenship? It's gotta feel good, right? It gotta feel good knowing that anyone born here gets to be a citizen here. I think it's gotta feel wonderful. How does it feel? Second question. How does it feel knowing, I have the chat pulled up here so I can see what people are saying. How does it feel knowing that, how does it feel knowing that Trump can't do everything he wants to do? It's got to feel good, right? Proof that Jovan is secretly a theist. Popeyes equal Pope. Yes, that's a crazy comment. Hilarious comment, but a crazy comment. Crazy comment. How does that feel, guys? It's got to feel good knowing that anchor babies are still golden. Anyway, three. Oh my God, I keep forgetting our number here because I feel like I went from doing every Calling It Now to now barely being on it. 336-543-2101. Guys, if you want to debate any of the things that we talk about, if you're a capitalist and you're like, Jovan, don't you understand? Capitalism is the way to go. Call. If you're a Jovan, is your mic/audio processing different? It sounds like a frequency range is being cut off. How do I sound, Luthien?
You sound normal to me.
Testing. Oh no, something is off. Something is for sure off right now. I hear it in myself. Is it my EQ? It was my EQ. My EQ was set weird. Now, how do I sound? I should sound better now.
Yeah, you
I
sound
want to
good.
know. Thank you, Luthien. I want to know from our dear friends, the Christians, how does it feel to worship a God that does not exist? Does it help you? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it helps you get through your day. Maybe. Oh, people are coming over to my chat because they don't like the slow mode on the lines chat. That's funny. God, I feel like I've talked about so much. Did you guys hear about that the kid who's like looking at facing close to 10 years for pulling the paint chips out of the reflecting pool? I know damn well. Oh my God. I know damn well y'all have heard about that, right? The kid who's facing damn near 10 years in prison. He's going to potentially serve more jail time than fucking January Sixers. He's going to serve more jail time than the Silk Road dude. And that's really what we get. Someone got 30 years for passing out anti-Trump magazines. Is this the college kids that were making the zine and got arrested for it? Please stop making eating noises. Misophonia is real. No. Dog, I'm hungry. I don't know what to tell you. Either I eat now or I starve. A kid being charged with felony is crazy. Yeah, like being charged with a felony. Or it's probably a vandalism felony. Gonna serve more time than Epstein. Well, to be fair, Epstein took himself out. You know, Epstein couldn't hack it. Yep, not one person in jail over Epstein, but plenty of people in prison for pulling up pieces of paint that chip off of the reflecting pool. What an amazing time. Kid, you mean terrorist? That's so funny. That's low-key funny. This is the crazy thing, is we keep talking about this like, oh, well, we're not in fascism because Trump hasn't reached that final stage, but like, look at all of this bullshit, dude. You want to tell me we're not, oh, hi, Lux.
Hello.
Oh, thank God you're here. I was running out of shit to talk about up to myself.
Sorry. It only takes you 7 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's just because I was like doing a somewhat stream before. Oh, no.
Oh God, I haven't even opened Call-In Studio. I had it open on my producing computer just now.
No, it's not Call-In Studio.
No.
I'm playing Chained Together. You know what? I'm going to reload my save. Sorry, I'm not doing that. I'm playing Chained Together, and I fell very far. Fun fact, so Billy, this would be Nate Billy, I'm pretty sure, is the one that I'm thinking it is, said in my chat today that he does think he's transphobic, and he really wants to learn how to not be.
Interesting. Wait. Because it's Billy the kid. Who, he was actually waiting in Takis chat, and then like he dropped out of the call studio. I don't know why, but he also has been in my chat before. It might not be. Nate Billy and Billy the Kid might be the same person. I don't know. Is the live actually live? The link that I have is acting.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at all the chats right now.
Okay, weird. The one that linked from Takis earlier went to a weird. Oh, it's because I fucked up. Okay, that was my bad. Okay. That was something that I did earlier this week. So anyway, everything's fine. How have you been? It's been a couple weeks. Ooh, Popeyes.
Yeah, I'm tired, bro. I'm so tired, friend. I want to be asleep right now, but Jimmy was sick, so I was like, you know what? I will graciously host on my channel, which is my channel, by the way, is Jimmy Snow on the Line. I will graciously host the show tonight. I'm just kidding. Jimmy wasn't feeling well, so I was like, I'll do it with Lux. I would love to do a show with Lux.
Yeah, Jimmy has like PT on Thursdays, so it doesn't surprise me that he might be a little bit wiped afterwards.
Popeye's chicken is so good.
Popeyes is really good. I've tried, I actually thought that I didn't like Popeyes because the one that used to be by our house in Kansas City was like, it was not the best, and they were always out of whatever chicken they used to make the sandwiches, so that all you could get were their god-awful chicken tenders. But because it's really the sandwich, you know? It's really...
I'm eating the chicken tenders right now.
I think the sandwich is where it's at. Yeah, but you're also autistic, and you have the weird autism chicken nuggets thing going on, right? Like, you have bad food takes? Are you one of those?
Okay, first of all, I love their chicken sandwich. I just wanted tenders today.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm being dragged right now. Looks like, oh, I've missed you, Jovan. Let me talk shit about your food tastes. And your hair is ugly. That was the worst part.
That's the culture. That's the company culture that Jimmy Snow has fostered, is we bully each other a little bit.
We don't have an HR.
No, we don't.
We don't have an HR guy. No, chat would say that I have really bad food takes, though. Here's one of my good takes. You can eat a Popeye's biscuit without water. They're delicious. They're moist, and I don't care what anybody says.
I have not tried. I don't think I've tried the biscuits before. I guess I'm always just getting like the sandwich and the fries, or just the sandwich by itself. The sandwich by itself stands so strong.
This is so good.
Yeah. Listen, everybody. We're here to take calls. I know Jovan's eating, but he'll be done soon, and we're gonna take calls. I'm gonna change this to show audio.
Yeah, Lux did say, "Are you one of those?" Crazy sentence, Lux.
I know. That's true. It's one of those like, wait, need to be more self-aware as a white person with what I say. Listen, I'm a good one. I'm reading Octavia Butler, okay? I'm one of the good ones.
Guys, I'm one of the good ones. I would have voted for Obama twice. That's what you sound like right now.
Exactly.
I love Tiger Woods.
Listen, of the black dudes to say I love that guy, I feel like Tiger Woods is not the one that I would point to first. He's got some other issues.
I would hope I would be very high on the list.
Of course, like one of the black people that I talk to on a regular basis. You gotta be top of mind.
336-543-2101.
Save us from this racially charged dialogue. Oh God.
What do you want to talk about today?
I mean, I'm ready to shift gears. We just had several really nice, spicy calls on Takis. And it was worth it to talk about those things because, like, you know, we just had the SCOTUS handing down their trans sports ban thing. So, oh, look it's Jimmy's Wood in the comments. Listen, y'all need to go subscribe to Jimmy's Wood. You want to see Jimmy's Wood. You want to stroke Jimmy's Wood. You want to watch Jimmy stroke his wood, which is exactly what you're going to get on the Jimmy's Wood channel. But yeah, so we just did some good spicy trans calls, and I would accept some trans-related calls, but I'd like to sink my teeth in on, like maybe some religious calls or some people who want to say how great capitalism is, there's been some interesting stuff that I've seen in the news lately, so I'm curious what the zeitgeist is like right now.
I've really enjoyed theism calls lately. Mm-hmm. They're just easy for me to turn my brain off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to put much effort in to debate a theist.
That's true. You know what I mean? I was really heavily into atheist activism when I was much younger, and then I completely dropped out of it for a few years because I found I was at this place where I was like, nobody is capable of saying anything new. Like literally for hundreds of years, there has not been a truly new argument given for, the existence of God or any of that. I know. So I got really bored with it, but it is really good in that way where it's like, it's well worn. I know the arguments. I can argue them pretty easily. It's not that difficult. We did have one that kind of swung into theism during the last show because the guy wanted to talk about trans and Christianity, but you may have seen him or talked to him. It was Felix, the guy who wants to keep saying, well, God is self-evident. So we did end up swerving into that, and he seems to not understand what the word evidence means and claims to not believe in material reality. So he was like, we can't come to a consensus about material reality, but God exists. Like, okay, fucking idiot, dude.
Yo, chat just reminded me, somebody on my chat the other day, who was like some 19-year-old theist kid, said that we had written accounts from people who knew Jesus, and I was like, who? And he said Moses, and you could see it on my face. I was like, there's no shot, brother.
Those events are supposed to be separated by like hundreds of years, right? I don't actually know the timeline, but thousands. Okay. Oh, because the Moses shit would have happened during the time of Egypt's like height.
Maybe not thousands,
of the
but
empire.
Thousands.
But yes. So like the Jesus stuff is supposed to be much more recent than that.
Moses was after Noah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe not thousands.
Yeah.
But still really, long enough that they would be dead.
I've really been hot on the Holocene recently. Like the idea that instead of saying, the year of our Lord 2026, like putting a 10,000 on it, so the year 12,026, because it kind of helps connect us to our human history. Like basically that 10,000 years that we add on to it puts us at around the time that agriculture started. So I like that idea of like connecting ourselves to our immediate human ancestry, and that kind of gives us a better perspective of how modern all of that is. Like even though it feels like a long time ago, it is very recent on the geological timescale. So
it's
that's what I've been
also
on
like
lately.
it's so annoying, like having to convert from BCE to.
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah.
To AD to, I don't even remember what AD stands for.
I think originally it stood for after death, but I think that now it's BCE or CE, which is before Common Era or Common Era. So now we're in the Common Era, which is dumb.
I love Common's music is great. He's one of my favorite rappers. Guys, 336-543-2101. We have some call screening, so hopefully we get those through soon, so we can hit on them. I had some people in my chat like half an hour ago who were just arguing trans sports to themselves for like an hour. Matt was there. Matt was doing it.
Yeah, I've seen Matt in the chat a few times lately. Like Arden being on the couch is really causing Matt to spend a lot more time like watching all of our shows. Oh gosh.
I don't know why that was so funny to me. I love that.
Like he's really feeling down bad and he's got to hang out with us. Pretty funny. Looking at our schedule. Yeah, we got so many fun things going on. We got a Cuz I Wanna tomorrow night. If y'all didn't know, on the Line channel, sometimes we do Friday shows. It's going to be Seth Andrews and Godless Engineer, which is a fun combo that I don't think I've produced for before. So it's going to be good.
I forget that we can just say, hey, Lux, I want to do it because I want to. I think it's harder for me because I have my own streams.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm
you
like,
can
if
just
I
do
want to
whatever.
stream, I'm just like, I'll just go stream.
Yeah, and you make plenty of money, I'm sure.
I'll be forgetting. It looks like we have a call.
We do.
I'm wary of this call, though. I'll be 100%.
Sure.
It doesn't read like a real person, so I guess we'll find out. Coming up onto the line is Olympus, him, who's a theist from Texas, to tell us why they love Christianity. Olympus, if you can hear me, you're on with Jovan and Lux. How are you doing today?
What's up, my man? What's happening?
How's it going?
Sorry?
He said, what's happening? Nothing much, man.
Oh, okay. Okay, nothing much. Olympus, we're atheists. You are a Christian, okay. I presume?
So what about Christianity or Jesus himself, okay? Only Jesus, like no philosopher, no Plato, no Socrates, no Nietzsche, none of them people can take a man that is broken, right? And by the words that Jesus said in the Gospels, take a man, if he follows those words, can take that man who's addicted to different things, y'all call it sin, making wrong decisions, and totally transform him into a new man. And that's a requirement for heaven. Is to,
what are we talking about?
Reborn.
My therapist can do that. So Jesus isn't that special, dog.
Well, you have to take medicine, or your therapist can do it. The therapist can't do it. Not for everybody.
Talk
Maybe
therapy. Talk therapy. I mean, talk therapy works for plenty of people.
So you have to go to a therapist.
Do I have to? No, I don't have to do it.
I'm asking. Okay, well, when you're reborn, all that stuff's taken away. You only know that feeling whenever you're reborn. You'll know it.
Reborn to what?
You'll know it. You won't.
What am I going to be reborn as? I do. I know it very well.
Why are you interrupting? I'm going to answer your question.
There's a delay.
So
I'm sorry. We're not trying to be rude. Okay. There's just a little bit of a delay, so sometimes we talk over each other a bit.
I understand. Okay, so what was your question? Because I forgot.
Well, I was just wondering why I would need Jesus to fix my life when therapists can do it.
Well, each person is how you're reborn is unique to that person. He works uniquely within that person. So it's a requirement. Like there's a verse that says, to get into the kingdom of heaven, you have to be reborn. He talked to Nicodemus about this, and Nicodemus
okay, but what if I don't believe the Bible is true? Then what do we do?
Well, it is true. What part of it don't you believe is true? What part of it don't you think is true?
Most of the Old and New Testament, actually.
Most of the Old Testament, if you look at other nations like the Sumerians and the Babylonians, they believed in the same type of creation myth that's in the Bible. And
that doesn't make it true.
Old Testament, the Old Testament is basically the history of the Abrahamic religion and the Hebrew and the Israelite. So that's the history of those people. So
and most of that history is made up.
Okay, remember when I told you that other nations, they all talk about a flood, and they also talk about
they don't all talk about a flood.
Like a garden.
According to the Bible,
there are seven nations that basically do
Olympus. That. Oh wow, 7.
We're
That's so many.
About
Olympus,
Middle East, the Middle East.
Olympus. According to the Bible, specifically, how many people survived the flood? The Bible gives us a number.
0. 2.
Incorrect.
Or 2 people.
Incorrect.
Well, I don't know. That doesn't matter. What's the point?
It does. 8 people.
What's the point?
8 people. 8 people survived the flood.
8 people. Yep.
So
okay,
I'm to believe that the flood story is true, in that only 8 people survived. But you're telling me 7 nations have stories about floods, about worldwide floods? How would those nations exist if only 8 people survived the flood?
Well, they don't exist anymore. Okay. The Babylonians,
I'll make it even simpler. Ancient China existed at the time the flood was supposed to happen. If the flood killed all but 8 people, how did China exist?
That's a question I can't answer because I don't know that information. I don't know if
did the Bible
true or
did
not.
the Bible
just because you say it doesn't make it true.
Just because I say what? That ancient China existed?
Just when was the flood supposed to happen? Little argument
when did the flood happen?
Satisfaction and your ejaculation does not mean that I know it's true.
Oh, you are crashing out, buddy. You are crashing out. When did the flood happen, per the Bible?
How's that crashing out? Per
the Bible, when did the flood happen?
Well, it says that some people lived for 800, 900 years, so it must have been a long time ago. A very long time ago.
Yeah, we have a specific time. We know specifically when it happened.
You think you have a specific time.
No, the Bible has a specific time.
Biblical scholars are in agreement on this.
Yeah, biblical.
Yeah, the Bible says the flood happened 600 years. I'm going to keep talking. The Bible said the flood happened 600 when Noah was 600 years old, and we know when Noah was born, so we can just extrapolate to 600, and we know that the flood happened in 2348 BC.
Say when Noah was born.
Genesis
what?
When Noah was born would have been Genesis 7.
Where in the Genesis does it tell you the date that Noah was born?
I'm sorry. Did I not just say it?
I
No,
think you just said Genesis 7.
That's not a date.
But he's telling you the verse.
That's a chapter. That's a chapter and verse in the Old Testament.
Do you have a Bible? Because you could pull it up. But he's saying that it's in the verse.
I don't have to pull up a Bible. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, there's no way.
How about you?
Noah was born 1,056 years.
So you're supposed to present
Noah was born 1,056 years after creation. We know this based on the lineage. Noah is a direct descendant of Adam. So we know because Genesis tells us how old each in the lineage was. So we would know exactly when Noah's birth was, which was around 2,948 BC, because creation would have been 4,004 BC, meaning the flood would have been around 2,348 BC.
You got a clever little argument that you mess with other theists.
A clever argument, or maybe
it's a clever little thing that you repeat over and over again.
How many people again does the Bible say survived the flood?
You have let's get past that. So what about
no,
that?
We won't. It's 8. Oh, sure. What's the minimum population for a viable species to repopulate?
I don't know, dude. I'm not a scientist.
Is it like 10,000?
It's 5
to
10,000. It's 5 to 10,000.
You're clever.
So if the Bible says only 8 people survive, but there needs to be 5 to 10,000 people in order for a species to repopulate, how does that make sense?
The person that created the heaven and the universe, how he thinks and how he is. You don't know what you're talking about, man. You don't understand the word. You're
it kind of sounds
dude.
like Olympus. It kind of sounds like Jovan is more familiar with your Bible than you are. So it sounds like you don't know what you're talking about. So it's really rude for you to say that, actually. I don't know if you realize this, Olympus, but it's really rude. You keep talking over us. This is our show. We are hosting the show. We are driving the show. And you have just been really, really rude.
You're trying to control the narrative the way you like it with typical people.
But this is what Christians say. Olympus, when people say that they are young Earth creationists, they are going off of the numbers that Jovan just said. So this is what Christians. I'm still talking. That's crazy. You know what's crazy is I just told you how fucking rude it is that you keep talking over us. Can you stop? Are you going to stop, or do you need to be muted? Do you need to be treated like a child, or are you going to interlocute like an adult?
Do what you need to do.
I'm getting pissed off, and I wasn't before because I am in the middle of talking.
Because you can't beat me. You can't beat me. That's why.
I can.
Because I have God, and you're God.
Imagine not knowing any of your Bible verses, and then crashing out the sermon.
That guy's doing some stuff right there. Oh, they can't handle it.
You need to start your own show.
I'm getting pissed.
You have a single factual thing.
Who cares if you have a show? You're still
muted. I genuinely can't stand when people don't know their own book and they respond to every question with "I don't know," and then try to hit with "that man's saying some things." Yeah, you're saying "I don't know" over and over and over again. You're muted right now.
He said he did have his own show, so he is just here to plug his fucking weird. No, I think Christian stuff.
I think he was trying to mock you.
Oh, okay, that's funny. I'm too autistic to be mocked.
Ain't nobody listening to this bald ass motherfucker.
No, really.
Anyway, the minimum populations for a species to be able to reproduce, bare minimum's 1,000, but that's not a success. That won't lead to a successful species. Bare minimum to lead to a species population of our size is 5 to 10,000. So it's physically impossible for only 8 people to have survived the flood. It's a physical impossibility. But also, per Olympus, his God really loves incest. And we're all just incest babies.
Yeah.
I'd love to know. Actually, I'm going to unmute him for a second. Olympus, you're unmuted. Why does Olympus, now that you're unmuted, why does God like incest so much?
Have you read the Gospels?
I'm going to ask the question again because that wasn't why does God like incest so much?
Well, I already told you that you're speaking of the Old Testament. We have a new covenant. We have a New Testament. And that's part of.
I'm sorry. What did Jesus say? What did Jesus say about the old law? What did Jesus say about the old law?
Not a jot or tittle.
Yeah, God's law is the 10 Commandments. If you look it up,
God's law is the entirety of Levitical law.
Go on to Google and look up the definition of God's law.
God's law. No, God's law is the entirety of Levitical law.
You don't know what you're talking about, dude.
I do
know what you're talking about.
What did Jesus say about this? What did Jesus say about the old law? What did he say specifically? What did Jesus say about the old law?
Isaiah, who prophesied Jesus and John the Baptist, talked about the God of old and the God of new. Look up the parable of the wineskin.
I don't know why you're not just answering the question. Why are you trying to be slippery?
Do you know the parable of the wineskin?
Is it because you can't answer it? Is it because you can't answer the question? I'm going to ask my question again that's not gotten answered. I'm going to ask my question again that you refuse to answer. What did Jesus say about the Old Testament? You probably don't know because you've never read the Bible.
It's in the parable of the wineskin, dude. That's all you got to look up.
It's in the no, it's not. It's in the Sermon on the Mount.
You don't know what you're talking about.
It's actually from the Sermon on the Mount, you dummy. What did Jesus say about the Old Testament when he gave the Sermon on the Mount? What did he say?
He said that. Shut up. He said that I did not come to replace the law. I come to fulfill it.
It's crazy that you think you can talk to us like that.
I come to fulfill it. That's what he said.
And what else does he say? Read the whole quote.
He says if you commit adultery,
read the whole quote.
Commit murder, you shall be judged.
I don't like people that only know part of Bible verses.
You want me to read the whole quote? You want me to quote the whole Sermon on the Mount, dude?
No, I want you to quote specifically what he says about the old law.
He said that he did not come to replace it, that he come to fulfill it. And if you understood
and what else?
Isaiah,
nope, stop. There you go again. There you go again. Cutting off the context. There you go again. There you go again. Cutting off the context. There you go again. Cutting off the rest of the quote.
You would be
there
surprised
you go again,
how loving
cutting off
and
the rest of the quote.
The God of New is.
There you go again. You have to cut the rest of the quote off because you know the rest of the quote makes you look wrong as fuck. So what you do
understand this?
is you just cut
do
it
you
off.
Understand this?
What you do is you cut him off. I
can't
believe that you as a Christian, no, it's not. That you as a Christian,
yes,
right,
it is, dude. That's what
quoting Jesus. Can you believe this? That you as a Christian, that you as a Christian are misrepresenting Jesus. That's blasphemy. That's a sin.
It's not
You're committing a sin.
Jesus, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not God.
Read the whole quote.
You can't take away sins, dude. You don't know
talking
sin.
Olympus. Hey, Olympus. Hey, real quick. Hey, I just want to just get in here really quick. I just want to interrupt real quick. So, Olympus, you are talking to two people who are pretty familiar with this material. Jovan especially is very familiar. And he has the benefit of... I am literally in the middle of fucking talking. That's crazy. So the thing is that Jovan also has the ability to check immediately to make sure that he's quoting the Bible correctly.
Well, he's wrong. You doesn't even know
Olympus, I'm literally still in the middle of fucking talking. Was I done talking? Does it sound like I'm done talking? Shut the fuck up for 10 seconds. So the thing is that you're saying you're at work and you don't have the ability to check. But Jovan does have the ability to check. So I don't know why you're writing over him and talking over him and trying to tell him that he's wrong when he has the liberty to check right now. We don't need to speculate about what's in the Bible. We can check right now. And Jesus said that he's here to fulfill the law, not to abolish the law, that nothing of the law is to be changed, not one jot or tittle. So you cannot keep on this Old Testament doesn't count. Jesus himself.
I told you.
I'm still in the middle of talking. I'm still in the middle of talking. Hey, shut the fuck up. I'm not done. I'm not done. The thing about a sentence is sometimes you have to build up to the point that you're making, and I'm not trying to mute you. I just want you to shut the fuck up, but you are muted because you're a child and you don't know how a dialogue works. This is our show. We're going to mute you because you won't stop talking over us. By the way, while he's muted, everybody hit the like button real quick, please, because that's going to help us get better calls. It's going to help boost us to the algorithm. We do still have lines open, 336-543-2101. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the thing is that Jesus did not abolish the law. He's here to fulfill the law, and nothing of the old law has changed. You are wrong if you think that the Old Testament doesn't count anymore. It is against what Jesus himself said, and it's kind of pathetic that you don't know your own book and you're trying to argue for it. Now I'm done.
Jot and tittle refer to two parts of the Hebrew language. Specifically, jot is the smallest letter in the Hebrew alphabet. What Jesus is saying is that nothing, not even the smallest piece of the law, will be changed. The law is the law of the prophets. This is why he says to continue to follow the law of the prophets. That is not just the 10 Commandments. Only dumb people would think that. Only people that are like genuinely really stupid would believe this. Not me, because I can read. Now you're unmuted.
I just Googled, what is God's law? In common religious and moral philosophy, God's law refers to divine commandments intended to regulate human behavior. In Christianity, it's summarized by the 10 Commandments.
Divine commandments that were given to Moses on fucking Mount Sinai.
I'm not a Jew, dude.
Levitical law.
I'm a Gentile.
It doesn't matter.
I'm a Gentile.
It doesn't matter. You're such a moron.
You saying it doesn't matter?
God damn, you're stupid.
If you're saying it doesn't matter, you don't know what you're talking about, and you should cease talking about it.
You might be the dummest person I've talked to today.
I'm a Christian.
Because I've talked to some dumb fucking people
you're
today.
Stupid. You're Christian and stupid. Because when Jesus, who is supposedly, when Jesus tells you,
I pray for you.
When Jesus tells you, I don't give a fuck what you pray for.
And waste your breath.
Pray to get your hairline fixed. That would help. Pray to fix your hairline, and maybe, goddamn, maybe that will be something. Jesus tells you specifically. When Jesus is given, wait, hold on, quick question. When Jesus is giving the Sermon on the Mount, is he only giving that to Israelites?
It's for the Gentiles also.
So when Jesus tells the Gentiles to follow all of the laws of the prophets, that includes you.
The 10 Commandments, dude.
Are not the only laws of the prophets, doofus.
The prophets are when God needed a message sent to his people, the Israelites, he used the
Holy
prophet.
Shit, you're an idiot.
He used the prophet.
You're an idiot. You're dumb.
You're needed them for really a specific reason. And that's
you are just genuinely dumb.
It's called the Old Testament. Parable of
stupid.
The wineskin, dude. Will explain all of that, but you don't know it. You say you're learned on the subject. You have a pre-recorded clever idea in your head of how you can do gotchas to theists.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you're talking about. You're in the church of atheism.
Yeah, bro. I hate to break it to you. Mute. I hate to break it to you. You're a fucking moron who walked himself into a contradiction. Because Jesus says specifically that you are to continue to follow the law of the prophets. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. All has not been fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, the 10 commandments aren't the least commandments. Those are the big ones. The least commandments are talking about all the other 600. Right? This is how this would be read to anybody with a brain. But Olympus, you don't have a brain. You are the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz. You quite literally don't have a brain. And it's crazy. What do you think, Lux?
I just really wish that these people like actually knew what the hell they're talking about. Whether it's Christianity or trans sports, people come in with really strong feelings-based opinions and then they just can't back it up. And then you have the actual data. Like in this case, we have the actual Bible right there in front of us, or you do. I didn't pull it up because I don't fucking care. But like, I have the studies, I have the data, I have the knowledge, and they're just like, nuh-uh, though. Have you considered nuh-uh? Have you considered you don't know what you're talking about? Like, no, you are ignorant about your own religion. And like, sorry, but you're going to have to reconcile with that at some point.
I shouldn't know your book better than you, dog.
Truly. Not if you're going to call in and argue for it.
I don't even believe in it. I don't even believe in your book, and I know it better than you do.
Trying to say we're in the church of atheism. Fucking idiot.
Oh, shit, true. We'll give him one more chance to say something intelligent. Here you go, Olympus. Floor is yours. Say something smart.
What do you want me to say, though, y'all?
That wasn't smart. See you later.
Nice try,
That wasn't smart.
Nice try.
I said something smart. Do it intelligence.
Oh, boy. That's fun.
Not one jot nor tittle. And then Christians hear that and go, change everything. Mm-hmm. Nothing's the same. Ceremonial law. Kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. That's wild. The overwhelming confidence that they come in here with is, may we all have the confidence of a mediocre white man, you know? Like, I receive this blessing and I pass it along to everybody else. We do still have lines open, everybody. The number's on the screen, 336-543-2101. If for some ungodly reason you're from outside the U.S. and you want to call us, we do have a web caller. I believe it's linked in the description. So we got time. I don't know how long we plan on being here. Usually it's like 2 or 3 hours, but we'll feel it out. We'll see how it goes.
It's 2. I have a hard out at 8.
All right, hard out at 8. All right, 2 hours. So we have about an hour, 20 minutes left. If you want to call in, if you want to talk about socialism or capitalism or vote blue no matter who, or fucking, I don't know, what else is going on right now? Did you just see the news that apparently somebody called CPS on Pete Buttigieg and like accused him of molesting his children?
No, but that's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, like I was reading something that was supposedly written by Pete Buttigieg that was like his retelling of like somebody came to his house and they said that the children needed to stay somewhere else that night so that the following day they could be interviewed. And it's, it like everything is okay. They believe that this was a spurious claim after doing the interviews.
But the left is violent.
Yeah, it's like you just traumatized some children, 4-year-olds, who have 2 loving gay dads. So like that's the world that we live in now. Like people are effectively weaponizing CPS and like trying to have Pete and his house like not swatted, but like kind of similarly like weaponizing the the police and enforcement structure and having these small children interviewed by strangers.
Don't you need like an address to call CBS on somebody? Well, there's certainly no way you can just pick up a phone and go, I think Pete Buttigieg is abusing his kids.
As a public figure, his address might be more easily accessible, or because his name and his husband's name are both public, and so you could find it through public records. It's like, this is why doxing is a problem, because technically if I buy a house, then my name being on the deed of my house is kind of a matter of public record. You just have to know where to dig for it. So it's like you're taking public but obscure information and then publicizing it in a way that is like, hey, stochastic terrorism, go get these people. So
gotta buy houses under shell corporations.
yeah, for sure. Just buy it under my business name. Oh boy.
It's the only way to stay safe, you know?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, you know,
we got some people screening right now.
Yeah, if you think trans and gay people are bad for children, you know, like any of that crazy nonsense, we will have a conversation. And look, I know that I kind of yelled a little bit, but I really don't do that until I've like multiple times told somebody to stop fucking interrupting me. Didn't he start the call by complaining that you were interrupting him, and then we explained that there was a delay, and then he proceeded to talk over both of us the entire call? Damn, that's crazy. No. The entitlement is off the charts here.
You host. Bring up the next one.
I host. Bring up the next one.
Yeah, we'll work back and forth.
Hell yeah,
we're a team.
We're a team. That's true. Communism. The clasping of fists. Anyway, we are going to talk to Rocco, who's a 23-year-old theist from Kentucky. Rocco, you are live on Calling It Now with Jovan and Luxander. How's it going?
How you two doing?
Living the dream every day, my dude. Well, you wanted to talk about how God is real, and we would love to hear what evidence you have for that position. Go for it.
Ooh, evidence. That's an interesting way of posing it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I believe too much in the science perspective of things, which is where I would usually use the word evidence. I don't. What evidence do I have that God exists?
Why do you believe in him if you don't have any evidence?
Yeah.
I just met him. Like, it's just impossible for me not to believe in him now. But I don't have any reason for you to believe in him, because I'd have to give you evidence.
You met him at like a book club, or like?
No, just I've had an encounter with the divine, like most of the greatest thinkers in the history of the development of cultures on our planet. And so I can't not, quote unquote, believe in him, if belief is the right word. But I don't have a reason.
How do you know that the being you met was the divine? How do you know your mind wasn't just like playing a trick on you?
Yeah, it was like sort of the only time when my mind can't really play a trick. It was just more real than everything else. But I wouldn't offer that as a reason.
What does that mean, more real than everything else? I don't understand that sentence.
Yeah. There's no reason why you should. I can't give you a subjective experience that I had. This is not a good line to go down, because it wouldn't be a good reason for you to believe. If somebody just said something like that, there'd be no reason for you to believe.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you a question. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah. Sorry, Rocco. I just wanted to ask you a question. So, you know, if you're not able to communicate to us like why we should believe in God because you had a subjective experience, I'm really curious, like, okay, so you experienced something in your brain, probably, like mentally you experienced a connection of some sort. Is it more likely that you met an all-powerful interdimensional being who created all life, or is it more likely that your brain glitched and you received sensory information that wasn't actually happening?
Yeah, I'm aware of deeply skeptical questions that can make the entire existence of the world seem to disappear. I teach philosophy.
Well, you're taking it to a little bit of an extreme. I think that's taking it to an extreme. So the question is very direct and simple. The question is, what is more likely, that what you experienced was a side effect of having a big complex brain that likes to hallucinate things, or that you had a personal connection with an all-powerful being that created everything? What is more likely between those two options?
Great question. I'm not sure. Maybe it's more likely if it was a brain experience that it was a hallucination. But I didn't offer this experience as a reason for you to believe in anything. Or for me, like if I told you I got sucked out of the matrix and I saw the wiring of the code of the universe and then I plugged myself back in again, I couldn't give you that experience or like explain to you why I know that's the case, but I just happen to know it.
Then why should we believe?
I mean, my question is, why should you believe? Why do you think that the subjective experience you have is enough information for you to say this is a fact about the entire universe instead of viewing it as just something that you personally experienced?
Yeah, I don't think believe is a good word for it. I just can't not know what I know, and so I'm stuck with it.
So I want to be clear because we're having a little bit of a vocabulary difference. When I say believe, I mean you are convinced of something as a fact. And to some extent, we don't have a lot of control over what we're convinced of. So you had an experience that convinced you that it's a fact that God exists. Do you think that that's a fair representation of what occurred?
So since I didn't want to offer that as a reason for an argument, maybe I should try, if you really want an argument. Do you think it's like something to see green? When you look outside and you see green leaves and stuff, do you believe that experience has a quality to it that means something in the world?
What do you mean by meaning?
I'm having such a hard time hearing you. Your mic is really
the mic is a little bit crazy. Is there a way to improve the quality?
Oh, I turned the speaker off as I was instructed. Maybe I can. Is it better now?
It might just be a connection issue.
I think it's more a connection thing, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like cutting out a little bit.
All right, let me connect to the Wi-Fi for the call and see if that helps.
Yeah, that might help.
All right, it's connecting now.
Let's see if we get over this glitch.
It's better now.
Okay, give me a sentence. Let's see if it's better.
All right, is that better?
We'll try to carry on. We'll see what we can do. So I mean,
when you go outside and you look at vegetation and you have a greenness experience, is that a thing that you believe the universe can instantiate in a personality having a green-like experience? When you see leaves, there's a quality to that experience of greenness, right?
Yeah, but my subjective experience of color isn't me making an objective claim about the universe.
Yeah, because if I like green or if I'm comforted by green, that's not a universal experience. And it doesn't mean that green is objectively a comforting color.
100%. I didn't say any of those things. So yeah, I'm not trying to prove all of that with this. All I'm saying is...
We're just trying to hone in on what your thing is here. We're just trying to hone in on it.
I'll help with that right now. If you do say that, yes, there's a quality to experiencing green, it's not just like I'm a robot that's being told the information of 330 nanometers of electromagnetic radiation wavelength or something like that, but there's actually a quality to it, then you can make an objective statement that whatever the universe is, it's capable of manifesting personalities that can have a green-like experience. I'm not making claims about universality or what green is like to other people or any of that other stuff. I'm just saying you believe you live in a world where personalities can experience greenness.
Sure.
Yes?
So the reason why I'm finding it hard to connect this back to the topic of like whether God is real
let me help.
Is
so
yeah, well, because when you believe in God, you believe like I guess it's like depends on what you mean by God. Because when I hear people say God, it's like you're talking about a creator that exists immaterially.
He just said he doesn't believe in God.
I said I don't believe in God. I said earlier belief is a weird word to use for this. I can't escape
you are
what I know
convinced that there is a
experience.
God. So I wanted just to be clear, when I use the word believe, I mean you are convinced of a fact about the world. Do you disagree with the way that I'm using that word believe? Like, could you understand if I continue to say believe that I mean you're convinced about a fact?
I don't want us to get stuck in that. Yeah, I'd rather skip past it since I do kind of disagree with that word. I wouldn't choose that wording myself. But I understand what you're saying. I think we could just move past it so we don't sink into a little like...
Sure. So do you think it's a fact based on your experience that there is a God and God is real?
So what I was trying to talk about was whether or not there's evidence for your green experience. I'm trying to, in other words, do an epistemological breakdown of the demand that you have that I present evidence for a properly basic belief. So if
Rocco,
you'd like to continue
the reason why I'm
road,
struggling with this
is that, yeah, but you Rocco, could just go along with the conversation.
The thing is that if God is real, that's important for me to know. Like, I need to know that.
I can also go along with the conversation. I've experienced green, so when someone tells me, well, green exists, I can like extrapolate based on my own experience. I've never experienced God, so when someone tells me, well, God exists because I've experienced him, that doesn't tell me anything. Totally. Just like if I were to tell you, I had a real experience, this was the most real thing that I've ever encountered, of a purple unicorn that shits ice cream. You probably wouldn't go, that unicorn is real. You would need something 100%. Else to prove to you that it's real, because I'm making an external claim.
Yep, you're pushing at a completely open door here. I 1,000 wholeheartedly and with a deep throat agree with you. That's why I said that's not a reason to give anybody else to believe anything, right? So let me inhale to the full amount to say how much I agree with what you just said. If somebody came to you and said, I experienced the purple unicorn or whatever, that would not be a reason for anybody else to assent to a proposition. What I'm trying to do is break down the idea that assent to a proposition and weigh evidence is the proper way of analyzing what we would call properly basic understandings of things, right? So if you'll stick with me on this, you do believe the universe is a place that can make a personality that has a green-like experience. You believe that you've had that experience. And now I'd like to point out to you that you have no evidence and can have no evidence to give anybody else that that's a true thing. Everybody else could be a robot that doesn't have those experiences, and you can't convince them that there is such a thing as a green-like experience. Would that be correct?
I don't think that's correct, because we have cameras and we can measure the wavelengths of light. So like the green exists objectively, in a sense.
I don't think it does.
And I can also point at something and say that's green, and somebody else can point at it and say, I also think that's green.
Yes, yeah, no, that's cool. But robots that are being told 130 nanometer wavelength would also report green if that's what they were programmed to do, but that doesn't mean they're having the green-like experience. The green-like experience might only be something you've ever had. Maybe everybody else.
So are you just saying that God is an experience that doesn't matter outside of your brain?
I'm not, I have lots of important things to say, but they can't be jumped to that quickly. So let's get back to just slowly where we were.
One of them?
Can you connect back to the original idea, quicker?
Oh, yeah,
I don't have 30 minutes to go down this train with you.
Oh, but earlier you said that this was a really important question and that working it out would be really valuable to you.
Yeah, but it should be pretty straightforward to tell me how I could find out that God is real. Like, how can I find out this information? That's why we ask for evidence, because it's like, if you know something about the fundamentals of the universe and I would like to know about it too, then I need you to lay out some good solid reasons. And if you're basically like, well, it's kind of similar to looking outside and seeing the color green, then that doesn't help me at all come to the same place that you're at.
Sure. I wasn't doing that. I was actually calling into question the basic assumptions that you just very cleverly, very smartly listed out there, that this is the type of question that should be approached in an evidentially seeking sort of way. That I actually think that process is what's going to stop you. And I'm illustrating that there's a lot that you believe that you couldn't possibly look for evidence and demonstrate to someone else that they would then have to accept.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by evidence, because somebody's self-reported experience is evidence. Like if somebody says that they're depressed and they can't get out of bed, I don't need to walk to their house and watch them every day to consider that adequate evidence to give them a diagnosis of depression. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay, so if the majority of people who ever successfully contributed to the thriving of civilization said, I've experienced the divine, and we as humans are responsible for wrestling with it properly if we're going to survive, you would take that as a massive amount of evidence that there's a God then.
Well, I would study what happens, and what happens is that there is a specific part of the brain that experiences an overload in that situation. There's a word for it. I can't remember what the word for it is, but we can measure what's happening in people's brains. And again, it seems likely, it seems much more likely, in fact, that this is a thing happening inside people's brains versus what's happening in their brains being a reflection of a grander, much larger fact about the universe. Like, people having a subjective experience doesn't mean that the thing outside of them actually exists.
From a William Jamesian pragmatist perspective, which is sort of what I was implying as I was structuring my language, I was saying that perhaps if all of the successful civilizations were groups of people organizing themselves around partially understanding a bunch of mythological stories that are vaguely pointing at the idea that we have to relate to nature and the body politic and our families and the divine properly, that since there aren't really any successful, thriving cultures, it's not incoherent. You got to want to follow along.
No, it's truthfully incoherent.
Like we're trying here.
I can sub out. In your example, I can sub God out for literally anything.
I don't think you could, but you could do that now if you want to. I'll listen quietly. Yeah, go ahead then. I'll listen.
I could, if most people on the planet had an experience and were coming to you and telling you that there was a 200-foot tall alien outside of your house right now, would you believe them?
If most people who contributed successfully to thriving civilizations and all the other ones died, I would take the idea way more seriously, yeah. But your partner there was the one who said that we can take evidence of experience as some evidence. I wasn't actually claiming that to begin with. I was talking about the nature.
I want to be, so I apparently I misspoke, and so I want to be clear. When we're talking about subjective experience, I can trust even that someone says that they felt the Spirit of God at church. Like I can trust that they had that feeling, which is different than saying my subjective experience means that this thing exists outside of me. Like it is proof enough. Absolutely. I believe you when you say I felt the presence of God, because if I really imagine it, I can feel the presence of my mother. Listen, Rocco, I'm going to get a little bit frustrated here because I'm trying to drive towards something, and I know that it's maybe frustrating for you because we are the hosts and we're in charge of the conversation.
Didn't I already agree that that's not a good reason for you to believe? I already agreed with that. That's not a good reason for you to believe. I agreed with that.
Yes, but you also seemed to misunderstand when I said that subjective experience can be evidence, because I am not saying that subjective experience is evidence of anything external. It is evidence of your own experience, and I'm not gonna like I said, I'm not gonna go to your house and find out if you're actually experiencing depression. You know, I can believe you, but if you were to make a bigger claim, like I saw a ghost once, and that means that there are ghosts everywhere, and that we live on in spirit after we die. Like that is a claim that you're making outside of your subjective experience. You're saying this objective thing exists and happened because I saw it. Which is not that's like not conducive to the broader topic.
I agree with you. That's a good correction. It's a good distinction. You agree with me that I didn't say that that's why you should believe, because I don't think that's a good reason for someone to believe. I agree with you that I agree with you on that. I have a quick question for you, because I think this leads perfectly to this. Do you believe in Darwinian evolution?
There is a massive amount of evidence, and I have been convinced of the fact of evolution. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So the way I would say it, if someone asked me if I believe in evolution, I would say the idea is something like the entirety of the environment around species, like all of nature and everything that the universe is and has, is chipping away at things that don't fit in well with it to produce things that do fit in well with it. Now, that's not the way I would teach it in a biology course. I would talk about the three prongs of, random mutation and natural selection, all that. Would you agree that the idea of evolution is that what we are is the product of the entire cosmos chipping away with things that don't fit in well with it?
I think positioning it that way. Sorry, Jovan is just stepping away to go to the bathroom real quick, but I'm still here. I think that I would probably not position it as like the cosmos is doing this or is operating in this way. I mean, like when we're looking at evolution,
I don't want to personify the cosmos. What I mean is all the factors in the environment taken together as a whole. Would that be a better way of wording it?
I guess, yeah. Like evidence at many scales, both macro and micro. We have lots of evidence that we've evolved and that the Earth is 6 billion years old and all that stuff. So, like, maybe we would describe it differently, but yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm asking you to swallow it even more. Like, I'm asking us to really embrace this idea. So, the Darwinian idea is all the factors around us, let's put it that way instead of the cosmos as a whole, the sum total of all the factors around us, including sometimes cultural agency that can shape our evolution. So it could be persons and agencies, but typically it's also physics and chemistry. But the cosmos as a whole, let's reword that as all the factors in our environment are chipping away at that which doesn't fit in well with it and leaving what thrives better to reproduce. Yes?
You keep saying this verbiage of chipping away. And I think
that's natural selection. It's killing the things that don't thrive, you know.
I don't know. I think generally people who study evolution frame it more as like whether a species is successful or not from an internal sense, like rather than it being an external sense. But I mean, I guess we're functionally driving toward the same thing, that like adaptation is a critical element of evolution.
People, Darwinians don't believe there's some glowing orb inside the species driving it to change, right? It's
well, the drive is to survive, actually. Yeah, like Darwinian evolution is predicated on the idea that animals are compelled to survive and reproduce.
Right, and the faster ones might do better than the slower ones, but they're not driven to become faster. They're driven to survive, and then nature selects
it's adaptation,
advantageous variety. Well, that's what adaptation is. Nature selecting advantageous variety. Like, okay, cool. So all of the environmental factors that surround the evolution of the human species have produced personalities that can have qualitative experiences.
Sure, I guess.
What the hell does that mean about what is out there? Right? What does that mean? If you really embrace it in a Jungian, William Jamesian sort of a way, if you really embrace it, what it's saying is whatever it is that created us, quote unquote, whatever it is that's the process that made us be, it's all of the factors around us working on our ancestors to produce the variety we are, and we are the sort of variety that succeeds culturally and civilizationally when we are aimed at trying to understand how to relate to the divine properly. Those are all just objective facts.
I followed you right up until the point that you brought the divine. Like that, I don't think that has anything to do with evolution.
That's an anthropological fact. I'm saying, what do monkeys that dress like us do to succeed and build cities? I'm saying, I'm just describing it. I'm not claiming anything beyond the humans who thrive and develop culture and music and symphonies and Supreme Courts and all of that stuff. The ones who do that, all of them, orient their entire civilization, their calendar, and their art and their sculpture around stories that tell them this is how you have to relate to the gods properly. Why would that be a feature if what we are is something that was shaped by whatever is out there? Let's put it that way, instead of the cosmos as a whole or the set of variable environmental factors. Whatever's out there has made us the sorts of things that do better as a species when we're thriving to understand how to relate properly to each other, to nature, and to the divine. And there haven't been successful versions of us that haven't done that.
I feel like you slip the divine thing in there like it's self-evident, and I don't think that's the case. Because just because human beings are good at pattern seeking and we fill in the gaps of our understanding with God, like if we had a scientific revolution several thousand years ago and come to understand the world in a tangible way, we probably would have gotten rid of religion much sooner. Like we are seeing a dramatic fall in religious adherence now and like much less belief in the divine because we have the ability to measure things in the world that we didn't used to understand why the sun traveled across the skies. It must be a god with a chariot pulling the sun, you know? And so I think that just because we have done a lot of spiritual whatever, but it doesn't mean that like that's necessary to the development of our societies.
Well, we're going to run the experiment. We'll find out. These things take about 1,000 years. And that's an interesting, you said something interesting. I want to ask a question about it.
Yep.
It seems like you think we have a new set of explanatory vocabulary that can replace all of that old storytelling stuff from the Greeks and the Hebrews and all that stuff. That if we had, say, a theory of magnetism or gravity or forces or whatever, we never would have come up with any of those stories.
I mean, yeah, like why would you need to make up a story if you understand that it's a natural process?
Well, as a silly person who teaches classes on the philosophy of science, I don't think it has any explanatory power. I think it is descriptive only. I don't think the word force means anything except I decided to stop asking questions.
But in the history of religion, it does it does serve as an explanatory function, like the Greek mythos and the Greek pantheon, they existed to explain a lot of natural processes. Like there must be a god shooting electricity down from the sky. Like it literally was explanatory.
I'm not sure that's the case. There's 4 major academic theories about that, and that's the one I find least convincing. But it could be, but I don't think so. When I read Ovid's Metamorphoses, I find profound meaning in there, and then I say, oh, isn't it interesting that it's also mirrored by the physical, the seasons changing and that sort of a thing. It's kind of mirrored by that, but I don't see it as primarily being about describing those physical things. But it's possible. There are academics who think that was the reason for these stories, was like a science before
even in the modern
science.
day, Rocco, there's people who are like, it's raining because I prayed and God made it rain. So they are using God to describe a natural thing occurring.
Right.
Or not describe, as the cause, not just a descriptive, like, personification. It sounds like, is that what you mean? That's like the idea of the Greek gods was more a personification of natural processes? Is that kind of what you're driving toward? That it was more like creating a story around it?
That's a great question. I'm going to say something that's going to make you either laugh or cry or you're going to think it's weird. I think our post-Cartesian scientism, probabilistic description, formulaic talk is an objectification of the nature that is personified, actually. But that, we don't have to get into all the weird things I believe. I happen to believe that the deepest language for describing reality is the language that was used to build all these successful civilizations in the first place, and that's why I find deep meaning in those stories. But that's going to feel pretty on its head, upside down, in our sort of scientismist age that we're living in. I don't know how you're going to take that, but
I'm really interested in your use of the terms. What did you say? Scientistism? What did you say?
Yeah, we have this scientismist sort of.
Okay, thanks, Billy. I can't believe Jovan isn't back yet. Jovan said, I am not going to come back while they're still on the phone. Thanks, Billy.
Oh, is he gone?
Yeah,
no, I was literally sitting in the other room. I was like, I'm not fucking doing it anymore.
You're just letting me suffer through that alone.
Yeah, I couldn't do it anymore.
I said in the chat.
That shit was pissing me off.
Somebody asked me if they could pay to drop him, and I said $50 in the chat, and I'll drop him without even saying bye. And then Billy Sipes came in clutch, and I asked a question, and he started to answer, and I hung up.
I hit my wall, and I was like, I'm walking away.
I can't believe you left me alone with him. That's crazy.
I did go to the bathroom. I just then sat down and was like, oh man, this sitting down I could hear him, but I was like, sitting down not having to talk to the person that said at the start of the call, I don't actually have any evidence, was great.
Yeah, he just wanted to philosophy circle jerk the whole time. Okay, anyway, now it's my turn to go pee. You do it. You do your job now.
Sure. We'll bring up Felix from Puerto Rico. I've heard about Felix, but have not spoken to Felix. Felix, him from Puerto Rico. Felix, I assume you're going to tell us God is real. Can you please provide a syllogism for your argument?
Okay, the universe is contingent. Therefore, an independent being must be necessary. It follows logically. Therefore, that independent being is what we call God, because he's personal, is omnipotent, is all-knowing. It has all the characteristics.
I'm sorry.
Of the
what was your
God.
P1? What was your P1? The universe is what?
Contingent.
Contingent on what?
Contingent on an independent being.
So your P1 and P2 are actually just P1. The universe is contingent on an independent being. I already have a problem with your P1.
No. The universe is dependent, and
on
dependency
what?
by definition.
What? No. Felix, you've already flummoxed your syllogism so bad, bro. You've already biffed it in the first thing.
What's up, Felix?
Your P1 is a massive presupposition. You're saying the universe is contingent, which would mean it must be conditioned by something. So that means that you're saying it's contingent on a being must be part of the P1, not the P2. And if you're saying P1 is the universe must be contingent. Yeah, if your P1 is the universe must be contingent on a being, I'm going to disagree with that. Now provide the argument, provide the syllogism for the universe being contingent on a supreme being.
Okay, then the universe is dependent, therefore that dependency.
No, I'm sorry. I disagree with you on the universe being dependent. You have to prove that the universe is dependent. Prove that it's dependent on this.
Okay. Okay, the universe is dependent because you are not necessary, correct?
Because I am not what is that? What are you talking about?
Okay, how many contingent beings are necessary for a necessary being to
Again, I
exist?
don't believe the universe is contingent on anything. So prove to me that the universe is contingent on something.
No, that's not what I'm asking you.
I was told you were much better at this. I was told that you were better at this than
that. I'm asking.
I know you're not asking me that. I'm combating your P1. Your P1 is full of presuppositions that I want you to ground, and it's like, do you not know what it means to ground a presupposition?
Yes, sir.
Oh, do you want me to tell you what it means to ground a presupposition?
Do it.
You need to make your statement be logically sound so that one point follows the next point. Right now, you're saying the universe is contingent, but you're not telling me why the universe is contingent. You're just saying it is. Why would the universe need to be contingent on anything?
Why the universe is contingent? Because it is contingent by definition, because you are not necessary.
I disagree with your I disagree with your definition here.
That was literal garbage. That was literally nothing. You just said words and it didn't say anything. The universe is contingent because it is contingent
is a nonsense sentence that can only be said by somebody who doesn't actually know what a syllogism is.
Sir, are you necessary or contingent?
I'm necessary.
You're necessary. You have always existed in all possible worlds.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, prove it.
No, just like you don't have to prove the universe is contingent. No,
it's obvious.
Just like
I can tell that Jovan has always been here.
Okay.
It's self-evident.
In other words, you are saying you are God, omnipotent.
I'm saying it's self-evident that it's self-evident that I'm necessary.
Okay, show it. You are God.
No, it's self-evident. That's me showing it.
Okay, cure me.
No, it's self-evident. I don't need to do anything.
It's self-evident.
No, it's self-evident. I don't need to do anything.
You should be able to just tell.
It's self-evident.
So you weren't born from your parents?
Do you see why yes, it's self-evident, yes.
So you weren't born from your parents?
No.
No, you don't have parents?
No, I've always been. It's self-evident.
Okay, sir. If you want to play that card,
if I want to do the exact same, if I want to do the exact same logic that you've been doing.
No, that's not what I'm doing. When did I do that?
Is. Literally, do you want me to rewind the tape? The entirety of the conversation.
Okay, sir. Whatever you say.
So can you prove to me that the universe is contingent?
Sir, you are contingent. Every part of the universe is contingent.
Can you prove to me that? Can you show me why the universe is contingent? Can you ground that presupposition?
But what do you mean by why?
Did you even ask why? I'm sorry. Did I just have a stroke?
Do you have a dictionary at all?
What do you mean by why is contingent? That doesn't make sense. What do you mean by why?
Prove to me that the universe is contingent on anything.
By definition, contingency.
Yes, exactly. There you go. And by
dependency.
Prove to me the universe is dependent.
Because you are dependent. You are not necessary being. You were born from your parents. You understand that.
Thank you for just restating your premise. I think you are so bad at this, and I worry that others on the line have given you too much leeway with allowing you to say really stupid things. I don't let stupidity. Felix, I don't know why you're speaking. I don't let stupidity go by this much. It's just not something I do. I like stupid people to understand how stupid they truly are. So your claim here is that the universe is dependent on a supreme being. Answer me this question. Why can't the universe be eternal?
Because it's dependent by definition.
Okay, so why do you think that?
So wait. I just want it to be known. I just want it to be known that you just answered my question by restating your premise. I asked you to explain your premise, and all you did was just restate it. You might be too stupid to have this conversation. Like, you're not just dumb. You're like the Charizard to dumb people's Charmander.
Like, it might be ableist to keep taking your calls level of something's wrong here.
I'll ask it again.
Okay, sir.
Why can the universe just not be eternal?
Because we have evidence that is dependent, because you are your parents dependent on your parents to exist. You didn't exist.
Evidence, please.
Holy shit, dog.
It's every single call with Felix, dude.
Dumb. Dumber
so
than
you
dumb.
Existed before your parents? So you existed before your parents?
What evidence do you have? What evidence do you have that the universe hasn't always existed?
I'm giving you the evidence. You don't want it.
That's not evidence. You haven't given evidence. You've just said stupid things. I want the evidence.
You are saying that you are necessary, and that's crazy.
Nope.
You're saying
not what
you
I
don't
asked
have parents.
I said,
that's
what
crazy.
Evidence do you have that the universe is not eternal?
If you think that what Jovan said is crazy, Felix, hey, real quick, Felix.
I don't need the universe.
Felix, hey, real quick. Hey, real quick, Felix, hi. Hey, it's good to talk to you again. I mean, I wish I hadn't had to do this twice today, but
holy shit.
Hi. So here's the thing: is if you think that what Jovan said about him having always been here and not having parents is crazy, then you might be getting close to understanding why it's so frustrating to talk to you, because you are using the same logic and not backing it up with anything. So it seems like what you're saying is crazy to both us and you.
Okay, can I answer that?
Sure.
Okay, I'm telling you that he's contingent because his parents gave birth to him.
That's not the question.
And a contingent
That's not the
being.
question. That's not the question. We are trying to find why you think the universe is contingent, and you just keep saying because it
universe.
is.
I don't need
are
the
you drunk?
universe.
Are you drunk? Are you drunk?
I don't need the universe. I just need him alone.
Drunk.
I just need one contingent being
this
to
is
prove
a drunk,
God.
This is
Which is crazy.
I don't need the whole
It started
universe.
a couple hours ago, so he gets started pretty early in the day.
This is an alcoholic that we're speaking to.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. I'm telling you that I only need one contingent being. I don't need the whole universe. I just need one.
I don't.
And
I don't
Felix,
care what
you.
Hey, Felix, what's your favorite drink that you've had today?
I don't drink.
You haven't even had water today?
There's no shot.
No, cocaine only. I'm kidding.
Okay. It's just hard, you know. It's like, you know, you seem like a drunk person, or maybe somebody who has like something else going on, and it's really hard to know how serious you're being because of that. So it's like I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, Felix. But this is every call where people ask you a question and you just keep restating your position over and over again, and we're like trying to dig down into why you believe what you believe, or like how we could come to see things the way that you do, and you're just not doing a great job of explaining that.
Can I tell you something? How many contingent beings are necessary to prove a necessary being? How many?
Holy shit.
The whole universe? The whole universe?
Holy shit.
10, 15, 20, a billion? How many?
How many minutes has it been?
Enough.
Just one. You just need one contingent being, just one dependent being. That's it.
Yeah, I just don't really buy into this premise of contingency and necessary. Like I really, because it implies like a whole lot of stuff that is like we're making a lot of assumptions that I just don't. I think the universe is contingent on like physics working the way that it does. Like, you know, the existence of our planet is contingent on the fact that large bodies of mass have gravity, and then that forms and coalesces into like broader chemical reactions that create stars and shit. That's all I think is contingent about the universe. Like, so I don't like God doesn't come into that for me at all.
Okay, but I'm not talking. That's not my argument. My argument is one contingent being you. That's it, you, and you are contingent.
This is so
you are
stupid.
not necessary.
Yeah. Do you want to?
You are not necessary. You
like
have
Felix,
not existed
Felix, I want you to know
always.
something. I want you to know something before this call ends. I want you to know that I have a feeling you're going to end this call thinking you have said smart things, but you have said an incoherent babble. A 2-year-old babbles in a more coherent frame than what you have done in this call. Everyone here is stupider for having listened to you. Okay?
Prove it.
Every single person listening right now is dumber for having listened to you. Thanks for calling, Felix.
Prove it. His last words he said was "prove it."
Golly, what the fuck?
Happy 420 West Coast.
Why is the universe contingent on anything? Because it's contingent.
Because.
But why?
Literally because. Oh boy. Okay, it's my turn.
Go ahead.
It's my turn. I'm just going to read this real quick and see what it's about. Okay. We are going to talk to Ron, who is a centrist using he, him pronouns out of Ohio. Ron, you are live with Luxander and Jovan. What's up? How's it going? Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Your topic is about gender-affirming care. Hit us with it. What you got?
So I've actually barely seen The Line, but I've seen Jovan separately. Somehow his videos got into my YouTube algorithm at some point, or his shorts, I think. So I've heard some of his stuff and his positions on gender-affirming care, and I've heard a lot from this. Now, of course, I've only watched the shorts. I'm not going to say I've watched, like, the longer-form content, so maybe I just don't have all the info. And candidly, there's a lot of really bad information and not great info regarding gender-affirming care out there. My whole point is, though, I feel like there's not a lot of consistent evidence regarding gender-affirming care, and I just don't. I'm not from a religious background, but I'm from a very, you saw I'm from Ohio. I'm from a very conservative background, and I struggle to see how somebody can wake up and just feel as if they're, I don't want to say the opposite gender, but I think you get what I mean. And I don't feel like there's enough evidence, or if there is, I just feel like it's impossible to locate.
Sure. I mean, we exist in an information age in which it's really easy to pump out information, and we are also not really equipping people with the skills to like examine that information critically. Like, who commissioned the study and who worked on it, and like what biases might there be. So I understand completely what you're saying, that you go to Google and you search for information about this, and the algorithms are rewarding the content that gets the most reactions, which is not necessarily the information that is most accurate, because obviously the stuff that makes people feel really strongly are going to get the most reactions. You see the rage bait on your Facebook timeline and stuff like that. So that's a real problem, and I completely empathize that it's difficult to find the accurate information. This is something that has been studied quite thoroughly. And typically, I would say, we're looking to credible institutions like the American Medical Association, for example, is a big one that is like, we can assume that because their goal as a medical organization is to provide the best patient outcomes, right? So trans people, they have to go through this process of being diagnosed with a clinical degree of distress associated with this gender incongruence that they're feeling, which means that these people are like struggling to take a shower because being like having to look at their naked body is distressing. And so their daily living is suffering, right? And so medically, what we want is for those patients to be better able to function in their life and to get a good job and, be a productive member of society. And it seems that in all of the different things that we've tried, because we've tried to do therapy, we've tried to give people antipsychotics, we've tried like basically everything except for affirming the gender care, because that's kind of the last resort, it seems, that people, or at least the medical institution for a very long time was like, that's the last scenario. We want you, that's the very last thing we want you to do. But as far as patient outcomes are concerned, it seems like giving people this medicine when they ask for it, and calling them what they ask to be called, it resolves like 98% of the distress associated with that gender incongruence. And yeah, if you're going to look for like information on it, I would recommend the American Medical Association would be where I start. And then of course, like the World Health Organization also has this kind of information, and the WPATH. And the kinds of people who are presenting opposing information seem to be fringe. It seems to be that they have to disregard a lot of the evidence in order to come to the conclusion that gender affirming care is ineffective, or that it's bad for people, that it's actually worsening their health outcomes. That's a lot. So what is your response to that?
That's a lot. I mean, if it's, obviously I'd have to double verify. I mean, I believe you. You're on like a big show. You have people here who've said things like this, and I've heard Jovan say somewhat similar things before. So I'm nearly sure that you're probably not lying or, giving me incorrect information. And if it's true that those major organizations are backing it, and saying that this is the best possible solution that science and medical science can come up with at this moment, then, I mean, logically, I don't know if I really can disagree with it. I don't think I could ever sit here and try and deny science. I feel like that's silly, because it's not like I don't really have any actual counter evidence that would ever, that would actually contribute to this and actually say anything against it. I still have like this deep, maybe it's just the 2016 Feminist Skits owned compilation brain of somebody who grew up around my age, but I still feel this like deep discomfort with it. Maybe that's because I feel like, and I don't want to call it a phase, because I don't think that. I feel like it would be, there's been too much research on it to say that it's like phase based for these individuals, but I feel like most people go through this at an extent. Like, I feel like most people have lived their lives, and during their puberty years have thought about wanting to be the opposite gender, however you want to word it.
The thing you're missing is that for trans kids, it's not that they just like, have a fleeting pass of, well, I want to be somebody different. This is something that's usually been going on with them since they were like, I mean, the typical age is 7 is when you start to experience gender dysphoria.
It definitely gets magnified in puberty to an extent that sometimes that's the first inclination that you have. Like when I went through puberty, I was like, oh, fuck, like all these changes are happening now. And I was confronted by it in a way that I wasn't before. So, yeah.
But one of the big issues that I have is when we look at these things that are talking about like standards of evidence, the right is asking for a standard of evidence that's unethical to do. So one of the big issues with like the Cass review is like, hey, these studies, we're going to discount a bunch of these studies that show the positives of this care because these studies aren't done. What is they want them to be double blind, and you can't do that with this type of care because it's unethical. There's a lot of medical care that is trusted that you can't do double blind studies on because it's unethical.
Also, it would be obvious which kids are receiving the care and which ones are receiving the placebo. Like immediately it would be obvious. So it's like not really possible to get that double blind. But I will say, Ron,
I guess that makes sense.
I just want to be clear too that, trans people and medical associations, it's in our best interest to get this right. Like as somebody who was a trans kid, like it's in our best interest to make sure that we are pursuing the right avenues so that we have the better patient outcomes, or the best possible patient outcomes. And obviously it does make sense for you as a person who's not trans. If you're like, I don't really understand where that feeling comes from. I don't know where that shit came from either. It's something that happened to me, basically. Like my feelings of gender incongruence and dysphoria and everything, like that is a thing that I experienced as like, it happened to me without my having any control over it. And then I just had to figure out what to do with that. I imagine it's like, you just realize that you're gay and you're like, oh shit, now I have to grapple with this and figure out what to do. So in that way, it's like, I don't know where it came from exactly, but it's not like a thing that I chose. And we just kind of have to figure out how to navigate it as best as we can,
Yeah, that makes sense. And the double blind thing makes sense too, I guess, because I don't think there's a real ethical way to double blind children in a test that involves anything I guess, mental, or like psychological, that could involve them being depressed, I guess, or being sad.
Yeah.
I don't really see that being possible. Now,
but what we have done is we've taken studies. Real quick, I just want to mention this. We have taken studies of children and when they receive care, and we found that children who are able to access care sooner have way better improved outcomes than children who have to wait.
Yep.
And is there like substantial evidence towards that, or is it just because I'm worried about there being like one or two?
JovanBradley.com. I got a whole resource section there. All these studies are in there.
I'll look into it. Yeah, the only part that I guess is leaving me confused on this is you mentioned that you had these feelings and you didn't really have, this is Luxander, of course, that you had these feelings and that these didn't, these didn't just go away. It wasn't just an experimental phase or something like that. You know how people try and say that gay people are just doing that experimenting stuff they do when they're teenagers. I guess my confusion comes into the fact that I feel, again, like everybody goes through this, but there's just like a point where you just get over it because it's just not the thing. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like everyone goes through these kind of this incongruence or whatever, both with sexuality and with gender. So I mean, I guess my point is, are these people, is the science saying that these people are people who've gone through this and just were never able to get to the getting over it part?
I do just want to mention Lux. I, as a cisgender boy, I never once had feelings like I was a girl. Never have. I never once thought I was a girl. I never once wished to be a girl outside of like, oh, we're playing pretend, right? So like,
yeah. I don't talk to very many cis people about this, so I don't know. But it does not seem to me like that is a typical experience. And many times I have heard people say, "Oh, everybody feels that way," only for those people to realize that they are actually trans. So I don't want to like put that on you in any way, but I like. It seems like some like cis people like Jovan say that they don't have this moment as a teenager of being like, I wonder what it would be like if I woke up and I was a girl tomorrow. And that might be something that's worth digging into or reading more about. Like, how many people do, deliberately play the opposite sex in video games, and fantasize about those kind of things. Like I would hear that and say, like, that was an indication that maybe you should look into what gender incongruence feels like for other people and see if it sounds familiar.
All right. Sounds like a good idea, I guess. I mean, I'm not someone who's going to... I try not to judge things, like, off the rip emotionally. However, that is, like, my immediate response to that, as you may be understanding, too, given my background. I mean... I think there's a lot of people on in like more socially left spaces that are extremely hostile. Now, not for the wrong reasons, because if all of this information is true, if all of the science is there, then I think anyone who is denying it is being attuned to like anti-vaxxers, where it's just absolutely stupid and there's no real reason to behave this way.
They have a feelings-based opposition. So, yeah, for sure. But I think at the very minimum, it's good to check out Jovan's resources if you're just looking at the facts about the medical outcomes and everything. And if you're interested in having conversations with trans people about that experience, my website, luxander.net, has a link to my Discord. And there's a bunch of people in my Discord server who'd be happy to talk to you. And it's just good to learn. And even if you come out of that experience and you go, no, I'm a man and I'm cool with that, I think it's still good to be curious and examine those feelings, since it may be that that's indicative that there's something underlying going on, or that you have something to work through.
Sounds good. I mean, at bare minimum, I guess I'll take that. I mean, I can't deny, as much as I am emotionally wanting to currently, I came into this telling myself not to be emotional about any of the arguments and to just try and be logical. So, I mean, if the science is on the side of this, then I can't really, there's nothing I can really say. I just have to concede.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your call. We do have an anti-trans caller that I'd love to get to. But good luck out there, Ron.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.
I don't know what it is about me. I feel like I attract eggs like a fucking
I don't know what it
Easter bunny, bro.
I don't know what it is about you. That's so funny.
Because I do hear this from people. They'll be like, everybody's experiences. I'm like, I have never once wished to be the opposite gender. It's never even been a thought process for me. So when I hear people being like everybody, I'm like, well, I mean, maybe some people. I do think more people are probably trans than realize it, just because it's always been so stigmatized.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of my theory about why there's such a high, I guess, comorbidity between autistic people and trans people, is I think that probably the feelings of gender dysphoria are common across all people, but that autistics are just more likely to be like, I don't give a fuck about the rules, and I'm going to pursue that feeling and pursue my happiness. Whereas I think neurotypical people who are more influenced by the peer pressure. Like I find as an autistic person that I am just not as affected by peer pressure. So I wonder if there is an extent to which they're just like, well, everybody else told me that I needed to suffer through it, so I'm just going to suffer through it. And how dare anyone else embrace that feeling and run with it? But that's just a theory, a game theory. Anyway, we still have more callers.
Game theory.
I don't even like Matt Pat.
Who's next? Oh, I love Matt Pat, man. Well, maybe not so much anymore, but I loved Matt Pat.
Back in the day, for sure.
Coming up next, we have Mike, who is a MAGA from Wisconsin, who's calling to tell us that trans people don't exist. Mike, welcome to the show. You're on with Jovan and Lux. Now, Mike, we have a live stream with, good Lord, well over 1,000+ people watching, and they would like to know, should they refer to you as he, she, they, or something else of your choosing?
I don't go by pronouns, man. Honestly, I don't care what people say about about me when they're behind my back.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I really don't. That's the thing, is like everybody's so worried about what other people say behind their back. What does that have to do with it? No, you can call me Mike. How about that?
When the chat refers to you, I'd rather
I don't go by pronouns in first person.
I didn't ask you your first person pronouns, did you? I asked what chat should call you, which would be your third
whatever
person
you feel comfortable about it. I really could care less.
I asked what chat should call you. That would imply
I'm
third
a man,
person pronouns.
So you can call me whatever a man calls, okay?
He, she, they, or some other third thing.
It's really not
games,
a game.
Or did I ask you a direct question that you're refusing to answer?
All right. I'm a man that goes by he, okay? You guys are playing all these games. Like, and you're talking about 7-year-olds, man.
You could have just said that, and we would be past it already. I
could have just said that. And it's all about control with you guys, isn't it? It's all about control. It's all about wanting to control the words.
It's almost like, here, I'll do one better with control. Now you're muted.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like me and Luxander have a live show that we're doing, that we're hosting in front of thousands of people, and we have rules that everybody follows, and you are not special and get to bypass those rules. And those rules are, we look for pronouns to give so the audience who is listening can refer to you in chat, so that the editors who will be posting this video can edit the titles and the thumbnails. We do all of this and have been doing all of this for years. Now, if you have a big boy problem with that, go to a different live stream. Super simple. You can click on a different show. But if you want to stop getting your panties in a twist and recognize that when a host of a show says, hey, in order to be on my show, this is what I need from you, then you do that. Otherwise, don't be on the show.
I've just asked you to take off your shoes when you come into the house. That's it. It's just etiquette, you know?
So simple. It's just such a simple, and you know the worst part? Had you just said he, him, we'd be a minute and a half into the regular debate by now. But you decided to be the obstinate one because you don't like pronouns because you think they're kind of gay. Let's just keep it $1.50.
Gay.
Now that we know that Mike is a he, him MAGA from Wisconsin, I can't wait to hear you substantiate the claim that trans people don't exist. So let's hear the substantiation, Mike, of the claim that trans people don't exist.
You just proved my point that it's all about control, first of all.
It's about etiquette and being polite, but okay, be an asshole.
Hold on, Lux.
You're not being polite.
Did you not hear the point?
I'm being polite.
Mike, did you not hear the point where I said I'm going to take control and mute you? So obviously it was about control, you dumb nuts.
Yeah, exactly. That was my point.
Do I need to? All right, Mike's back in queue. Should we move to Chris? Mike can sit in timeout for a little bit. Mike, we're going to sit you in timeout. If you realize that you want to have an adult conversation and be an adult, then wait in timeout for a few minutes. We're going to talk to Chris instead, who is a conservative from Texas who did give pronouns, because Chris can follow the rules. So let's bring up Chris, he, him, a conservative from Texas. Hey, Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
We are doing great, Chris. Chris, you want to tell us that the modern interpretation of gender is incorrect. Is that true?
I think that, yes. The way that we're defining gender in academia today is not correct.
Okay, not correct based on what? Just saying it's not correct is a little vague. So what do you mean not correct based on what?
Okay, yeah. So I think the core of the argument comes down to one side defines gender. The defining criteria for gender is self-identity. And on the other side, the defining criteria, the fundamental criteria. Oh, it's not? Okay. What is your definition? I would say the defining criteria of gender
identity would be self-appraisal, because there's no way to know your identity if not to appraise yourself. But the defining criteria of gender would just be a list of attributes given upon the sexes. So it just depends on what we're speaking about. Yeah, gender at its core. Gender is just a list of attributes, both social, physical, behavioral, whatever way you want to slice it, even stereotypical, that are just placed upon the sexes by society.
And and that changes by culture, right? Like every culture has their own expectations of what a woman should be, right? For example.
Correct.
And over time.
I just So I just don't think that the expectations of women in a society create womanhood in and of itself, right? So like all cultures throughout history. Right. So like all cultures throughout history, when you were a girl would become considered a woman after certain things, like there's obviously biological development, right? And then also in some cases there's certain like rites of passage, right? Like certain roles that they assume.
Let's do this and start a little bit from the beginning here, Chris, just so that I have an understanding. Because if you disagree with the way that you say modern theory analyzes gender or defines gender, can you provide me with a definition? And I'll write it down so that I have it listed for you for both. Can you provide me with a definition of gender and a definition of sex? This would be the way you believe that they should be defined in society.
Right. So with gender tracks three things. I think it tracks sex fundamentally, but it also tracks adulthood, right? Or whether you're childhood or adulthood, and just, of course, species, right? Just given that we're humans, because animals don't have gender. I think sex defines female. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So sex is male and female are how do you say? Like reproductive roles, right? There's only two reproductive roles, either of the nature of having children, like bearing children, or of the nature of impregnating, right?
Unless so that's you how you define have sex. Either one, but I guess that just doesn't count.
You don't have either one?
You would say, just so I can, you could, I mean, you could lack a reproductive system, but gender, you're saying gender would be a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a category, but gender would essentially be something that points to sex, age, and species, whereas sex is something that points to your role in reproduction.
Yes, that's what I think. And I do think gender has social aspects, right? But I think fundamentally it's about reproductive role. Like you define men and women, not just socially, but by what their sex is.
Well, my question for you is, why does gender have to be categorized that way?
Well, I mean, it's just traditional. I mean, do we at least agree that through history, a girl becomes a woman?
That historically gender has tracked species, age, and reproductive role. Yes.
Yes. why have we redefined it?
I mean,
because you say it tracks something else now.
I'm curious about this historical. I'm curious about this historical element because we have evidence of trans identity historically. So it's not like that's
but if we're just talking about the way society has typically tracked gender, I would agree with him that gender has typically tracked it that way.
This is how we define gender, except when we don't, except when we haven't. So I'm just like I don't know.
My thing is, if we've noticed that trans people exist, right? If I've noticed that trans people exist, and I've noticed that trans people experience gender in a way that is vastly different to the way I experience gender and the way that most people probably, I would say, experience gender, then I would look at that and go, okay, well, here are humans that we have this thing that we've functionally categorized because we thought all humans were experiencing this the same way, but clearly they're not. So the way I'm categorizing it is missing something.
It's missing something. So what do you think it's missing?
Self-appraisal.
The way self-appraisal. So why do we prioritize self-appraisal, right? The social aspect.
We don't.
Over the biological aspect.
Well, just FYI, your version of gender also prioritizes a bunch of social stuff too, which would be age.
Yeah, no, it does, right? But these are expectations that arise from being recognized as a female, right? Like these expectations, like if you're a male boy, that's you're not adult yet, that you expect the male boy to adopt male typical or gender masculine traits and roles and expectations. Now, just because that male boy adopts the social expectations of a female, it doesn't make them a woman in and of itself. You can say it's a
you're getting away from what I'm saying, right? Right now you're saying, well, it wouldn't make them a woman per the way I define woman. Obviously, you define woman in a way differently than the way me or Lux would define it. It would make them a woman per the way we define it. So it's not about are they women right now, right? That's not the question. The question isn't are or aren't they women categorically right now. The question is which of our definitions serves more utility, essentially. And I would argue that our definition serves far more utility in this case.
Because the thing is that all those women who are biologically female also identify as women. So when we are talking about a self-appraisal and how they describe themselves, every woman self-appraises herself to be a woman, and that includes every cisgender woman. So by our categorization, it's basically just saying, that self-appraisal aspect is significant, including when it happens to correspond with someone's biological sex. Because women call themselves
I hear
women.
Two different things. So I hear Jovan says that his justification for redefining gender is because it's the utility of it. And then your justification for redefining gender is because people identify with it.
Well,
I think
we're
both
both
justifications.
I was just trying to elaborate.
Lux's would fall with me too.
Yeah, I was just elaborating with more specificity on what Jovan was saying because we're saying we're not redefining gender. Gender has always been a self-appraisal. And we know this because we have examples of transgender people in the past. So
we do. We have this has always existed.
So because
people that identify as a different.
Here's the thing. I'm just adding on to this definition. Yes, sex is a component of human evolution and it is part of our lives. And women socially accept themselves as women in addition to being biologically female. They're I'm a biological female. Right. And you've got second wave feminism, which was we're really trying to get away from defining ourselves as women predicated on our reproductive capability, right? So this is pretty good, feminism academia stuff where, women feel that they are people and that womanhood is sacred and separate from their reproductive capability.
So gender has no relation to biological sex, is what I'm hearing.
It's obviously there's a clear relation. Otherwise, trans people wouldn't feel a need to change. I'm literally explaining it. There's clearly a relationship to biological sex. Otherwise, trans people's incongruence and their feelings of distress around it wouldn't resolve by changing their physical sex, but those feelings resolve when we change our physical sex characteristics. So clearly it's related, and I wouldn't say that it's not, because 98% of people, their sex and their gender correspond with one another, but it is clearly like it's clearly a factor. It's just not the like primary or sole defining factor of gender.
But I mean, isn't it your contention that you can be a biological male in every way but still be transgender?
Yeah, I think that
is that not your contention?
I think that the
being
internal
trans just means that the sex you were born with does not align with the gender. No.
Well, that's gender dysphoria, right? Because trans does not mean that necessarily. It means you identify.
No, gender dysphoria means you experience a distress by the physical representation of your sex. So you're like your physical, what are they? Phenotypic traits of sex not aligning. Right? You can align those and not feel dysphoria anymore. Whereas gender incongruence is just the fact of your gender not having aligned with your birth sex.
Okay, so the difference is one of them feels distress and the other one doesn't, but they both feel that their biology does not match their identity. Is that fair to say?
People who are gender incongruent can have the proper biology. They can give themselves the proper biology, and then they no longer feel the mismatch.
Wait, so do you think that we can transition our sexes, or are they transsexual, or just transgender?
Yeah, I mean,
sex is a mutable byproduct for the way we categorize sex in neuroscience.
Yeah, like if there are like 5 categories that we use to describe sex, and we can change like 4 out of 5 of them, or like at least
those are
like
okay. You're talking about the 5 like
then...
sex characteristics. Yeah. Okay, so like in a medical setting, right? Yes, they separated them into 5 sex characteristics for very specific clinical and medical purposes. Socially, though, there's a clear distinction between male and female, right? So,
like I said, why would I be worried? Whoa. Why would I be worried about whether or not you can change a biological category based on how it's socially perceived? I would only care about that based on the way that we would categorize this in a biological setting. We're not talking about gender. We're talking about sex now. You asked me about whether we could change sex.
Okay, because I'm trying to not move the argument towards whether or not you can change sex, because I don't think you can. I think reproductive role is defined whether or not somebody can.
Yeah, you're defining sex in a really narrow way.
In science and medicine, they disagree with you.
Because here's the thing that maybe you don't know, Chris. So I agree that you can only do so much right now to change your reproductive capability. We are looking down the barrel of uterus transplants. It's going to be entirely possible for trans women to get pregnant. It's going to be possible. But medically, if a trans woman has been on estrogen for a couple years, her risk of breast cancer matches that of a cis woman. Her risk of prostate cancer matches that of a cis woman in that it plummets to almost 0. Her cardiovascular risk now matches that of a cis woman. So medically, in every important way, all you have to do is do hormone therapy, and medically you need to be treated like the target gender that you're transitioning toward. Like you need to be. It would be deeply irresponsible to continue treating a trans woman medically with the same dosage of medication that you would give a cis man.
Okay, but like I'm defining sex or biological sex as reproductive role. You cannot change your reproductive role. You can change your appearance of your genitalia. Yeah, go ahead.
What you're doing, Chris, is taking a very uncommon perspective that is not what the majority of biologists say. No, not in the
majority of the world says.
Not in academics. Like, so colloquially, people can be wrong about this.
And I disagree with the academia. I'm trying to say.
Okay, but you are not.
I'm going to read you directly out of a neuroscience textbook. How's that work?
Like, I don't think.
I don't need to be a researcher.
Your colloquial definition.
If you're going to make the claim, if you're going to make the claim that like academia disagrees with us, then yeah, you would need some research on that.
Yeah,
I have the research from academia that agrees with us.
Academia, for the most part, agrees with you, right?
Well, then I wouldn't care that just people socially do. Most people have a 3rd grade understanding of biology. Most people still think that most people most people still think that like we would die as a species if all men died out. But we've literally advanced to the point where like we can actually impregnate females off of other female cells. And they actually give us more viable fetuses. So like I don't care what most people think. It just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah,
well, we're debating.
We basically perfected it in mice, but we
don't
do it in humans because it's unethical. What?
But it's the reason that to me that matters, because all of history, right? We've set a clear distinction between male and female. But the reason that I prioritize the common use of the word women is because that's the common use. Just because, so academia uses it for very specific reasons, like I said.
The thing is, though, so when the reason, Chris, the reason why this conversation sometimes blurs over into the topic of biological sex is that when a trans woman takes hormones, she does appear in a way socially that nobody knows that she's trans, and people do reflexively assume that she's biologically female. Literally countless times I've been seeing trans women say that they go to the doctor and they are asked by the doctor that possesses their medical chart in their hand. They are asked questions like, could you possibly be pregnant? And what was the date of your last period? So even when medical professionals are interacting with them, they're still making these social assumptions about biology. So when we say like trans women transition, and you're saying, well, socially, colloquially, we all use this to refer to biological sex. Like, okay, well, trans women are reflexively treated as women in society. So are we saying that, like, are we going to acknowledge that this is more of a social thing? Or are we going to acknowledge that trans women biologically change sex characteristics?
No, like, I agree. If you're trans, you should probably be, they should use your pronouns the way that should be respectful and to not allow for more distress to occur. But that's just out of respect. Like, for the most part, you can see someone and determine 99% of the time whether or not they're male or female.
That's actually not true. Lots of trans people pass and you have no idea. You've met trans people that you had no idea were trans. I bet you it's happened at least a dozen times in your life.
I'm sure I have, but for the majority of the ones that I met, I was able to recognize that they were trans. At least, maybe I have met a bunch of that.
You've met so many people who are stealth.
I think so much of this is unimportant to the argument, but we are running out of time, so we do gotta wrap up here, Chris. Okay. So if you want to try to call us back, I think the next time me and Lux will be together is who knows, but Lux will be on at Takis on Thursday. I'm sure
all
on
fucking
Thursday.
Month apparently.
Okay, can we just finalize at a question? What's the core debate? Do you think it is? Like, where does the debate really sizzle down to? Because I already explained what I think it sizzles down to. It's like, one of them sees it as, well, you said it was an identity, right? So what defines gender?
I think the problem that we're boiling down here to, Chris, is that you reject the expertise of people who've made it their life's work to study this issue. And I don't know how we're going to square that, because you do not have the expertise to counteract that work, all that hard work that's gone into understanding the issue.
Well, profoundly. I would love to understand the expertise. Like, why do they say that gender is not biologically based anymore?
Jovan, if you go to jovanbradley.com, he's got like a whole research list over there that I just learned about today. So if you're interested in getting into the scholarly research, just go to jovanbradley.com and you should be able to get
Jovan Bradley. Yeah, I would love to see why exactly they changed the definition. So, jovanbradley.com.
Is it changing the definition, or is it a modern understanding, like we didn't used to understand gravity, but now we do? And I'll leave you with that, Chris. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. Okay. Are we going to do this?
Yeah, just real quick. Mike is going to come up from timeout. Mike, are you ready to actually have the debate now?
Hey man, I've been ready to talk and be respectful the whole time.
Just kidding. Fuck off, Mike. That was our show today. Lux, it has been so much fun co-hosting with you. Hopefully we can do this on a Thursday where I
wait. Everybody, this is your last chance to subscribe to @Jimmy'sWood before the first video goes up. So if you want to be the OG at the Heathen Wood Shop channel, this is your last chance.
Jimmy is going to put the name of every subscriber before the first video.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not. The first video.
I mean, unless look, Lux, you can take Mike if Jimmy wants to sub in for me. He could just be a voice if he wants to sub in for me for the last hour.
So much homework.
I literally have to. I'm in a minute. I'm at my peace out.
I only have Fable through the 7th, which means that I am going to, and the 7th is Luthien's birthday, so I am going to be doing the shit out of code for the next like 5 days.
Oh, fun!
Okay,
yeah,
and that's
and then you
show
get like
for
3
everybody.
days off in a row. That's the show.
That's our whole show.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Love you.
This has been the show. We love you at the show, and that's been.